Hey everyone, welcome to my channel for the love of sports. Today we'll be going over the ATP tennis predictions for the Madrid tournament starting today. As you can see here, we're on a 21 and 16 betting run, so we're up over 3 units in profit. As you can see here, up over $350 overall. We've hit a little bit of a stretch of red here, but again, we're still $350 in the profit margin, so we can't complain at all. If you wanted to see a breakdown by sport, we just added this feature here. We just started betting a couple different sports. So you see 1-1 in the NBA, just a little bit of negative there. 1-2 in the MLB. We've bet the Padres twice and they've lost both games, but they've been super hot regardless of those games. It's just funny. We can't seem to take them when they're supposed to win. 2-1 in the NHL, so pretty good in the NHL. And then 17 and 12 in tennis, which is primarily the picks that we've had so far. So overall, pretty good. Can't complain. And let's hope to keep it going. All right, we're going to start with the predictions for the Madrid tournament. We have Sinner versus Coleman Wong. It's their first meeting. This should be Sinner. I know that Coleman Wong is more of a hard court player. This isn't like the preferred surface that Wong would prefer. Um, and I think Senna, should take this one down. I don't have a lean on this one, honestly. This is just a lot of these matches are going to be a little tough to predict just because, we need to see who's really interested in being here. But I would have to take Senna if I had to take someone, but not something I'm going to bet. Next, I have Giovanni Pericard versus Mariano Navone. Pericard actually beat Navone a couple years back in the clay. This one's a really tough one. Giovanni Pericard, he's known for his big serve, right? Huge serve, one of the best serves that there is. Navone loves this surface. This is his preferred surface. We did take Navone against Goffin, and he bageled Goffin in the first set and choked the second and third set. I can't take Navone after what he did there. That shows like his mental is a little weak. I honestly think Pericard can take this one down. It wouldn't be a bad play to take Pericard. I think he is plus money in this as well. This is not something I'm gonna bet, but I wouldn't be surprised if Pericard takes this one down. Next, we have Roman Safiullin versus Arthur Rinderknech. Rinderknech has not been good this year. His form has been pretty bad. Roman Safiullin that also does have the two head-to-head, matches, and I do think he takes this one down and makes it 3-0. Next, we have Benjamin Bonzi versus Silic. Benjamin Bonzi just not reliable anymore. Can't rely on him, especially in this surface. I feel like this should be Silic. Um, Again, I will kind of say my best bet at the end of this video, but I'm just giving my leans for now, and I would lean Silic. Next, we have Christopher O'Connell versus Ugo Carabelli. This is their first meeting. Lean Ugo Carabelli. This is his surface. Really, this is where he plays the majority of his games. Christopher O'Connell, mostly known for playing on the hard court. He has a decent amount of matches in this surface, but not recently. Recently, not recently, but throughout his whole career, Ugo Carabelli has been a clay court specialist, basically. So I would have to lean Carabelli. He's also been in pretty good form. Christopher O'Connell's lost his last 3 matches, so definitely would lean Carabelli here. Next, we have an interesting matchup: Nuno Borges versus Carreño Busta. Carreño Busta could surprise here. Nuno Borges had some impressive wins, including that big win against Holger Rune. But Carreño Busta is not a pushover. He's capable of beating Nuno Borges, and I do think this is an interesting matchup where I wouldn't be surprised if he takes this one. Next, we have Corentin Moutet versus Harold Mayotte. I would lean Mutet very slightly, but can't really trust Mutet too much, even on this surface. Just not my favorite play. Um, yeah, I don't really know too much about his opponent, so I couldn't give an accurate read on this. I know that he was playing the Challenger, or the qualifiers, I should say, but I didn't really tune into his game, so can't say too much about him. And for me, if I don't really know the opponent, I'm not really gonna bet that game. Next, we have Batista Agut versus uh, Jemi Munar. Munar should take this one down. I know Batista Agut does lead in the head-to-head. Batista Agut is older. Jamie Munar is definitely a lot younger and should be able to move on the clay a lot easier. Although Munar has not been good in form this season in the clay, he is usually pretty good in the clay. So a lean on Munar. Next, we have Alex Mikkelsen versus Alexander Bublik. This is their first meeting. Alex Mikkelsen has been okay in the clay. He played pretty good in the Houston tournament. Um, you know, this isn't not his preferred surface. So, you know, take that as you will. Same thing with Alexander Bublik. Bublik, he's more of a hardcourt player, not really loving the clay surface. If I had to lean here, I would lean Mickelson. He's just in a bit of a better form this year. Bublik has had his times where he's been on and off, so I would lean Alex Mickelson. And also, I'm from the U.S., so anytime I could lean a U.S. player, I definitely will. Next, we have Sebastian Offner versus Hugo Gaston. Who knows in this one? This is a toss up in my opinion. I can't trust either player really. Gaston has shown promise. He has played tough some really some good opponents, but then he plays like a weak opponent and he struggles or loses the game, and it's just like can't trust you, can't trust you. Next we have Dusan Lajovic versus Ethan Quinn. Lajovic, his surface is a clay. He doesn't really like the clay surface. A bit inconsistent for my liking, but he does like the clay surface. Ethan Quinn doesn't have much experience in the clay surface, but I did catch him in the qualifying matches, and he looked pretty impressive. He beat Montero, Tiago Montero. He took him down, and I was quite impressed with him coming back in that one. He's been impressive in general, so Ethan Quinn could be a sneaky play here. Just not one that I'm gonna trust to bet. Next we have Francisco Comesana versus Pedro Martinez. This is their first meeting. Francisco Comesana, we've bet him a couple times on this channel. We've won and we've lost with him. But he's one thing we know is that he's pretty good in the clay. He's a pretty consistent player. He's gonna play his matches. He's not a hard hitter. He's not gonna be a hard hitter. His serve isn't the best, but he's just known for extending those rallies, and he does not mind playing those long rallies. Like I said, Pedro Martinez, very inconsistent on and off. One tournament he looks pretty good. He'll win a couple matches, and the next tournament he looks awful. So I would have to lean Comasana in this instance. He's just been more of a consistent player, in my opinion. We have the last four matches here. We have Fabian Marozsan versus Flavio Coboli. Marozsan leads 1-0 in the head-to-head. I think Coboli takes this one. I know Coboli has had his times this year where he hasn't been that great, but Coboli, he did win that tournament, and he's looked good recently at least. Fabio Marosang, he lost his last game to Zverev. We actually bet against him, and that did work out. Zverev is just another beast in the clay. But Fabio Marosang has done a pushover. This game, I believe, would go to three sets. It should be a tight one, even if it's two-setter. It should be a pretty tight game. If the game spread is like 3 or 4, you probably could take that, or you could just take over 2.5 sets. I don't think either player is gonna take this down in 2 sets. I'd be surprised. But small lean on Flavio Coboli. Next, we have Fabio Fognini versus Dejetti. Fognini is a hard hitter. Dejetti is more of a crafty veteran. Um, that veteran, that crafty play style. And I really don't know what I prefer on the surface. I know Fabio has won their only head-to-head on the clay, and I honestly could see this going either way. I know that Jed is a big favorite. He's minus 275 or minus 300 the last time I checked. But don't call Fabio out. I know he hasn't been in the greatest form, but Fognini could surprise. Um, I think he can keep this one close. Next game we have Juan Manuel Cerundolo versus Alexander Kovacevic. Kovacevic has looked pretty good at times this year, and he also has been kind of hot and cold. But Juan Manuel Cerundolo, his specialty is the clay, and that's just where he feels most comfortable. I have to lean Cerundolo in this circumstance. And last but not least, we have Gal Monfils versus Gojo and Borna Gojo. And this is honestly Gal Monfils. I can't go away from Gal Monfils in this circumstance. I know Gal Monfils is not, loving the clay usually, but Borna Gojo it doesn't either. And I don't think I see Borna Gojo taking down Gal Monfils, especially Gal Monfils that he has some rest in him. And worst case, you take Gal Monfils and he has to retire or whatever. That's it'll save you money long term anyways. It wouldn't hurt your bankroll. So I would definitely lean Gal Fees. All right, and I believe that's the last matchup. It is. Okay, so now that we've gone over all of the matchups here, we're gonna go over our best bet for today. We only have one best bet. I know there are a lot of games, but a lot of these games are really close, and the odds are really close for a reason. A lot of them are pick'ems, but there are two matches that I liked the best that I put together for a two-leg parlay. I liked Gal Feast versus Borno Gojo, the last match of the day. I like Monfils. I trust him. He's been a great player this season. He's very consistent. I know this surface isn't his favorite or his best, but I do think he takes down Borno Gojo. So I have Gal Monfils money line, and I also took Camilo Ugo Curabelli to win at least one set versus Christopher O'Connell. Kind of touched on this earlier, but uh, Ugo Carabelli plays most of his games on this clay surface. He really enjoys his surface. Christopher O'Connell has transitioned more into the hard court and also is on a 3-game losing streak. So at the very least, I think Ugo Carabelli could take a set, and that's all we need. So put those two together, we have plus 102. Love that price, and that is our best bet for today. Make sure to let me know what you're tailing for today. If not in tennis, just on all the sports that you have. Maybe it's hockey, NHL game. Maybe it's MLB or an NBA. Now that we're in the playoffs, I will have a couple of plays usually of different sports. I've been trying to make videos for that as well. So let me know, your input on that. Thank you guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for more information. Have a good one.